Greetings, dear viewer, and welcome to Purposes Crossed, where I hope that people who are called by Jesus for different purposes cross paths and exchange ideas. We continue with our series of reflections on the Sermon on the Mount, and today we will deal with the fifth beatitude in Matthew chapter 5, verse 7. But first, let us read the text in Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 through 12. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak, and he taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. In the previous video in this series, we saw that Jesus blesses those who desire wholesome relationships. Now, in case we spend too much energy deciding what would constitute right ways of relating, Jesus gives us a clue. Jesus blesses those who are merciful. Now, mercy is inherently relational, and this should indicate that righteousness that Jesus had in mind is definitely not individual, legal, a right standing, but it is relational. Jesus has in mind something that works in the context of relationships. And so one could say that mercy helps us understand the meaning of righteousness. I may not claim to be righteous while at the same time being merciless. Now, we can be merciful in two ways. On the one hand, we can refuse to get even with someone who has hurt us. On the other hand, we could bless someone without his or her earning our blessing. Both are expressions of mercy. While in one instance, mercy may be expressed through restraint, in another, it might be realized through lavishness. In the case in which someone has hurt us, the very notion of getting even implies that we have already been disadvantaged by the other person. And in the case in which we unilaterally bless someone, giving that person something implies our not being able to use that something after we've given it to them. And so in both cases, we choose the position of being disadvantaged. The willingness, or rather the choice to be disadvantaged, might be the hallmark of mercy. Jesus blesses those who are merciful, saying they will receive mercy. Now, as we saw in the second session with the second beatitude, the passive voice reflects the fact that though God may be the source of the blessing, he uses humans to carry out his work. With respect to this beatitude, God is certainly the fount of mercy, but at the same time, he uses humans to demonstrate his mercy. Unfortunately, Jesus' blessing does not guarantee that if we are merciful to others, others will be merciful to us. Mercy, after all, is not mercy if it is coerced. Those of us who find our merciful ways are rarely reciprocated may have to wait to receive mercy from God's hand alone. Having heard the beatitude, however, we cannot ignore the implication it has for us. If we say that we are God's people, then we have no excuse for refusing to act in accordance with God's will. And Jesus tells us that God's will is to be merciful to those who are merciful. It follows then that through this beatitude, Jesus is summoning us to be God's agents of mercy, primarily as initiators of mercy, but also in response to those who we perceive to be agents of mercy. Thank you.